So we got some patch notes earlier today talking about nerfing some Cold War as well as Modern Warfare weapons. We didn't really have a video to cover any of that, but there is tons of videos and patch notes already out, which I'll leave a link in the description down below. But we've now got another update going over what the changes will be for the Vanguard weapons going into the future, and they've made some huge adjustments to these weapons already in the game. So we're going to go through that in this video. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, as well as just staying up to date with everything going on with the game, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel as well. We will race through all this stuff really quickly because I do have a ton of other videos planned as well. I just want to get this information out to you as quick as possible. So they've reduced the volume of the gameplay elements. So this is fighter planes, bombing runs and airstrikes, all that kind of stuff. I'm glad they've done this. It's making me deaf play the game sometimes, so I'm glad they fixed this. Fighter planes will no longer be able to auto target parachuting players. I didn't know this was a thing. I never really used fighter planes all that much so far. They've got some bug fixes in here as well, which is kind of self-explanatory. They're fixing the name on the Tommy gun because they got it wrong or something, so they're adjusting that. Not a big change, but this is a huge change right here. So weapon adjustments. With this update, they've drastically reduced the amount of weapon bloom on all base Vanguard weapons, so that is a huge update to begin with. Now, also in the future, they will be removing weapon bloom entirely from Vanguard weapons, which is great to hear. I just don't know why they added weapon bloom to the EM2 and the Cold War AK with the previous update. If they already knew they were going to make this update, it just didn't make any sense because they will be removing weapon bloom. Now, this will take some time based on individual weapons and all that kind of thing because they need to balance attachments, and there's tons of attachments now. So of course I definitely understand this will take some time, so we'll just need to wait to see when this update will take place. In addition, they've assessing the weapon ADS speeds across Warzone for more of the weapons. Maybe this is to do with the assault rifles and stuff, making them a bit slower than ADS, and maybe this is another way how they're going to balance the weapons. We'll just need to wait and see. I hope they don't make it so that the gun's ADS way too slow because it's going to be unusable for certain weapons, but like I said, we'll need to wait and see. But I'm glad they've at least reduced the weapon bloom in the meantime. That is definitely a huge bonus for anyone trying to level up these weapons or even use the weapons they have leveled up in general. For assault rifles, the NZ41 has been hitting like a truck, so they have reduced the neck multiplier and they have increased the recoil, but they did reduce that weapon bloom, so this gun is still going to feel pretty damn accurate. But it's just that the recoil of the weapon, which is actually controllable and within people's control, can actually be corrected for. So this is a good change in my opinion. It did kind of was pretty overpowered, and now I think it will be in line with the rest of the weapons. The Swiss, they added a second damage range. I don't know why they did this. So it's going to be decreased to 80 down from 95. Now maybe they thought the Swiss was still super overpowered even after the flinch resistance update. The neck multiplier is being decreased, the upper torso multiplier is being decreased. Maybe the Swiss will still get used an absolute ton even after the flinch resistance change. So maybe this Swiss will probably no longer get used. People might be using the Kar 98 instead now. And if you want something that's not got any flinch at all, try out the SPR because this gun has no flinch. Very similar to what the Swiss and the Kar had before. For submachine guns, the neck multiplier on the Tommy gun has been decreased, which is a bit weird because it wasn't really getting used all that much in my opinion. The maximum damage range has been decreased as well. For the own gun, the maximum damage range has been increased, which no one really uses this gun, so that's fair enough. The maximum damage range has been decreased for this weapon, again just making it more along the lines of SMG, so that's absolutely fine. The mid damage range has been decreased as well, so maybe this was quite powerful at longer ranges, I'm not really too sure. The headshot damage multiplier has been increased to 1.6 from 1.45. The neck multiplier has been decreased, the upper torso multiplier has been decreased, the lower torso multiplier has been increased, sorry, and the upper left arm and the right arm has been decreased as well. I don't know why it's different from left and right arm. I don't know why that makes a difference, but anyway, I think that's a bit of a stupid way to balance weapons, but regardless. Now, the PPSH nerf, we're kind of waiting for this one. So the PPSH, the maximum damage range has been decreased to make it more of a close range weapon, which is absolutely fine. The mid damage has been decreased to 20 from 22. Minimum damage is being decreased, which is the long range damage, from 18 to 17. The maximum damage range is also being decreased. The mid damage range is also being decreased. The neck multiplier is being decreased. Upper torso decreased. Lower torso decreased. Extremities decreased. So everything about this gun has been decreased. And that's just because it's pretty much the most OP SMG in the game right now. Sten, this should have got a buff, to be honest, because I don't really know why this has kind of got nerfed, because no one's really using it once again. So the neck multiplier has been decreased. The upper torso damage has been decreased. The lower torso damage has been decreased as well. This is the multipliers. Again, with the Type 100, again, we've got a maximum damage range increase. So it's going to be more of that sniper support kind of SMG. Mid damage has been increased. Minimum damage is being increased as well. That is weird, man. But the Type 100 was still relatively good. I mean, some of the other ones are worse in my opinion, but they've increased the mid damage and the minimum damage of this weapon, and the neck multiplier has been decreased. So overall, I'd say the Type 100 had a buff. Everything else kind of got more or less a nerf, in my opinion. For attachments for the Tommy gun, they've actually gave this a buff. So it says recoil has been decreased. That means the recoil has been reduced. So the Chariot 5.5, which I think is a stock, this is going to help a bit more than it did before. 2% is not a huge amount, but regardless. Now, these are actual nerfs to these weapons because it's recoil control decreased. So for the MG42, I think this is a barrel for the MG42. The recoil control has been decreased by 3%, and I think this is another barrel as well. The recoil control has been decreased by 6%, so they no longer help as much as they usually do. Then for the Sten, the rapid barrel, the fire rate has been decreased, so you don't get as much as a fast fire rate with the Sten if you did use this particular barrel. Again, not a lot of people use this weapon in the first place. We've got foregrips right here. The Carver foregrip vertical recoil control has been decreased by 2%, but that's only on the MG42. No one really used this anyway. Magazines on the Owen gun, the 25 round mags. The capacity's been increased to 25 up from 20, so maybe it wasn't correct originally, or maybe it was correct but they just had to up it to match the name. I'm not really too sure, but they have fixed it anyway. They've increased the mags on the PPSH 41 for the Grenco mags as well. The movement speed has been increased by 1% and the ADS speed has been increased by 1.7%. So overall, a good buff to the Grenco mags here. I think they're trying to actually make it match what it actually says in game, because some of them are not correct, so maybe that's what it actually was. The ACP ammo on the Sten, the magazine capacity has been increased once again to 28 rounds and nothing else. For the Type 100, the Russian short mags have been increased in capacity. The 8mm has been increased in capacity, and the Nambu has been increased in capacity. And this will all reflect in game now. So these are all the changes. Let me know what you think about these changes down in the comments below, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and subscribe to our second channel. And thank you very much for watching.